All right, so for today, again, we're doing section 0.1, factoring with a equal to 1, meaning everything that we're going to factor doesn't have a number in front of the squared term. So you can see number 1 says k squared plus 10k plus 24, right? There's no like 3k squared or anything like that. For number 2, it's just an n squared, right? So the a value is a 1. These are the easiest problems to do because that means that you don't have to divide after you do the x method. Okay, so hopefully you find these to be a little bit easier to do than some of the other ones eventually that we are going to do, because we will eventually do when the a term is something other than a 1. Okay, so we'll do all that stuff. Now, doesn't really matter which ones I go with. We'll do the even numbers, and then I'll give you guys the odd numbers for homework. Okay, so let's check out question number 2. Okay, so they just want us to factor this. So we're going to be basically going over how to factor these things. Since this is a trinomial, then we're going to want to use the x method. Okay, now just a reminder, whenever you do the x method, I'm going to kind of put it over here on the side. You normally have an equation that looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, on the top, it's a times c. On the bottom, you're going to write your b term. Okay, now for us, a is always going to be a 1 for right now, okay? And then what you have to do is you're going to have to try to figure out numbers to put on the sides, okay? Whatever numbers that you put here and here, they have to multiply to whatever a times c is, and they're going to have to add to whatever b is. And remember, I told you guys when I taught this to you guys, I know that looks really complicated in terms of a mapping, but that's basically what's happening. We're going to have to think of two numbers that multiply to the top and that add up to the bottom. Okay? So, here we go. So I'm just going to rewrite it, n squared plus 10n plus 25. Now I'm going to go ahead and make this x here. Now my a term, just to kind of write them right here, my a term is 1, my b term is 10, and my c term is 25. So I'm just going to put some little notes on the side right there, right? So on the top, I get to multiply a times c. So 1 times 25 is 25. And then I'm going to get my b term, and I'm going to put it on the bottom. So that's a 10. So now you're going to think, okay, what two numbers multiply to 25 but add up to 10? So what two numbers give me that? 5s, right? A 5 and a 5. Both of them positive, right? A positive 5 times a positive 5 is a 25. And a positive 5 plus 5 is 10, right? So those two numbers work. I do not have to divide anything because my a term, which is right here, notice you don't see it, it's a 1. So if it's a 1, you don't have to divide those answers that I circled. You just kind of take them and you're going to write them out. X plus 5, x plus 5. Now, do you see x plus 5 times x plus 5 on my A, B, C, or D options? Well, A, right? Now, it's not obvious, but since they're both the same, they're going to want you to just kind of combine them. And that is going to be your answer, which is going to be A. Now, remember, guys, when you're doing this in your homework, do not just pick A. Look at your options, because I think for the homework, it'll scramble your questions and it's going to scramble your options. So, in other words, number 2 here may be your first question, or it might be your last one. Okay? So pay attention. Don't just say, oh, he said 2 was A, and not look. Okay? Always pay attention to the questions. But this is basically what we're going to be doing for your homework for today. Just a quick review of this. So let's go over question 4. So I get m squared plus 13m plus 30. And remember, I like to write my ABCs here. A, B, and C. So let's see. My A term is 1. What's my B term? 13. Thank you. My C term? 30. So there we go. We have our ABCs right there. 1, 13, and 30. So I'm just going to do my X here. On the top, I multiply A times C. Okay, so 1 times 30, that's going to be 30. And then my B term is 13. That goes on the bottom. Okay? Now, I got to think of two numbers that add up to that multiply to 30 that add up to 13. 10 and 3. All right, so positive 10 and a positive 3. Those multiply to 30. Those do add up to 13. So that looks good. Okay, so I'm just going to write down m plus 10, m plus 3. And if I look, that's option D. Notice the homework's not terribly difficult, guys. Just factor. That's it. We're not trying to solve anything. We're just factoring. Okay? So let's do the last two, like I said. That way I can get half your homework out of the way. And then you just have 4 to do. So here's the next one. P squared minus 4p plus 3. So p squared minus 4p plus 3. And again, I like writing my ABCs. So A, B, and C. So what numbers should I put in for A? 1. What about B? Thank you. And C? 3. Thank you. So those are my ABCs. Okay? So let's go ahead and put them into my X here. So on the very top of the X, I multiply A times C. That's 1 times 3, so that's a 3. And on the bottom, I write down the B value, which is a negative 4. Okay, so I need two numbers that multiply to 3, but they add up to a negative 4. What numbers? All right, negative 3 and a negative 1. Oops, that's not a 1. Thank you. Those will work. Okay, because negative 3 times a negative 1 is a positive 3, so that's good. That's the top number. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Those add up to a negative 4, so that's good. So I'm just going to write down my answer. P minus 3, P minus 1. That's letter D. I think I forgot to put a box on my other one. Let me do that really quick. Are we okay with this? So let me give you the last one to try out, okay? Just try this one out. X squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay, x squared plus 7x plus 12. Try it, and then right now I'll do it, and you can double check to make sure you got it right. Just kind of looking around, making sure that you guys are giving it a shot here. Just try it. If you're having any problems with it, if you want to ask, let me know. Or if you just kind of want to wait, we'll do it. And then when I give you time to do homework, at that point, raise your hand. I can go help. Right? That's why I want you guys to try to get your homework done in here instead of being distracted, because that way you have me here at least, right? All right, so We know my A term is 1. What's my B term? 7 and C? 12. Okay. So, on the top of that X, we're supposed to do A times C. So that's 12. And on the bottom, you're supposed to do your B term. That's a 7. Okay? What two numbers? 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 positive, right? Positive 3, positive 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. 3 plus 4 is 7. So that looks good. So you're just going to write x plus 3, x plus 4. Which would be what? C, right? So there you go. So right now I'm going to post this in your CUDA works so you guys can work on this for homework.